The Super Speedway Podcast is a Dream Bigger media production. For news, photos, show notes, and information about advertising on the podcast, visit www.thesuperspeedway.com.
3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the Super Speedway.
It reassures me that I still have that excitement and that feeling of winning and going out and competing. People ask, how do you keep doing it every weekend? That right there, that feeling, that excitement, that little kid feeling, being able to come back. And I wouldn't say it was a dream because I didn't know anything about this sport when I started. So I'm just here taking it all in, enjoying it, and making the most of it. But again, that's not supposed to happen. We're not supposed to run with these big teams. What the hell? Somebody can drive.
Welcome to episode 125 of the Super Speedway Podcast, recorded Tuesday, September 10th, 2019. I'm your host, Eric Young, and I'm joined, as always, by my co-host, James Cush. James, I guess I can't say I'm joined by you.
You're joining me,
I'm
sir.
joining you.
Yeah, we are week 3 of the hunker down version of the podcast.
Well, it's even more hunker down today. We've just had a tornado warning.
Yeah, we survived that.
I think the sirens are done going off in the background now.
Yeah, and Ellie, if you can't hear, Ellie's running around in the background. So we've got our third person on the podcast today. So
Yep. So if there's noise and whatever, then
you're going to have to deal with it.
You guys know we're not a professional podcast. So.
Listen, we're dads. This is what we do.
Exactly.
Right on.
Exactly.
Our wives are generous enough to let us even do this. So
right. Yeah.
You're going to have to deal with some background noise once in a while. It is what it is.
It's amazing they put up with this.
Oh, my God.
How long have we been doing it now? This will be the third year?
Yeah. I mean,
insane.
I think we both probably outkicked our coverage a little bit.
Yeah.
So, I don't know why.
I think so.
I don't even know why they stick around.
I don't
honestly.
know either. But James, I would like you to tell me what the name of the race was that we had this weekend.
I even put it in the notes for you. I was a good student. The Big Machine Vodka 400 at the Brickyard, powered by Florida Georgia Line from Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Florida Georgia Line didn't even attend the race. They were there.
Didn't?
No, they were there for a minute. Though I shouldn't say they didn't attend. They were there. They played a concert in Mount Pleasant on Sunday.
Oh, jeez.
So they couldn't stay at the race the entire time.
Wow.
Anyway, and Mount Pleasant, for those who are listening out of state, Mount Pleasant is an hour from here,
Yeah,
where we
that.
sit right now.
Something like that.
Yeah.
I'm still not quite sure where your town is in relationship to everything, because like the only reason I've ever come to this town is to come to your house.
Yeah, we're smack dab in the middle of everything. That's about all you need to know.
There you go. Kevin Harvick gets the win at the Brickyard. Dominates the race.
Yeah, he was flat out just bulldozed everybody, right? I mean, 118 laps led, and just he won a stage and the race, and I mean that was it.
But here's the thing, like, I don't know about you, James, but now, of course, I watched it in segments and watch it from my phone, so a little bit different experience for me this week than normal.
Yeah, me too.
But despite the fact that he dominated the race, I mean, what do we have? How many laps were in this stupid thing?
160.
160. So 118 of 160 laps. I thought it was a good race. I
Yeah,
didn't even realize how much he dominated it.
Yeah, it was a good race. There was a lot of action. A lot of, for some reason, Indianapolis has been piling up wrecks over the last few years. So we have a lot of tension. This race actually, as a cutoff, seems to be. I know it's going away next year, but it seems to have improved the racing a little bit.
Yeah.
You had a lot of pressure on Johnson. You had the Newman Suarez battle that we were kind of paying attention to, and then. When Kyle Busch went out, that was a kind of a game changer too, because he was pretty much a threat as well. I mean, he wasn't, probably didn't have the car that Harvick had, but
he was working toward improving all day like they do.
Exactly, and that's what Kyle Busch has been doing all season. That team's good, and the fact that he had issues, and I know Denny Hamlin hit the wall, but his car just erupted in practice.
Yeah.
And just some weird stuff from JGR this weekend too. And Jones had trouble, so it was a weird day for some contenders, but they had nothing to lose. None of these guys did.
Definitely. So, do you think does this change next year with this race not being a cutoff race?
I think we'll probably see something different, but we may see a hotter, slicker Indianapolis. I mean, we're running Indy in July, which is going to could maybe lead to some tougher driving.
It's really easy to say that this race has gotten better because it's a cutoff race.
It just seems to.
But Richmond has sucked as a cutoff race.
Yeah, Richmond wasn't
for
good.
quite a while.
Yeah.
So I don't know that really. I mean, the racing style has changed, and this package has definitely changed it.
Yeah.
But we didn't have this package last year, and last year was a good race at Indy.
Yeah, last year was a good race, and the year before when when Casey Kane won, that
Yeah.
got wild.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly. That wasn't so much a good race; it just was a ridiculous ending.
And
That
Ellie's
was
trying
exciting.
to chime in as
Yeah,
well.
she wants to be on the podcast.
I don't know who her favorite driver is yet, but I'm sure she'll tell us.
So you got here in the notes. Where do we rank Kevin Harvick in the playoffs? I'll let you start. What do we think of him in the playoffs right now?
I slot him behind. I have I don't know how you want to rank the JGR contingent of Hamlin, Busch, and Truex.
Right.
But I still think Harvick's one behind those guys. But he's getting warmer, right? He's been running really good these last few weeks, as he does. I mean, Kevin Harvick's Kevin Harvick, and that team's going to be really good regardless. But he racked up some wins later in the season on some different types of tracks. Looking pretty good. I think he's probably the best non-JGR threat, right? Probably ahead of Logano and Kez.
I think so. I was on the radio in Toledo earlier today, and I said, and as I started to say it, I'm like, I can't believe I'm saying this, but Harvick's a sleeper. I mean, he's a sleeper right now. He's been such a dominant driver, especially last season. This year he's struggled. He's a sleeper. He's getting good at the point where it matters.
Yeah, and you remember when they switched to Ford in 2017, and that team wasn't any good all year, but they were consistent. And all of a sudden, at the end of the year, they started to build speed.
Right.
And Harvick won Texas late, and then went into the Final Four as as good of a contender as anybody. This season's, he's performed a little better this season than he did in 2017 still, but coming, man. The guy's coming. He's running well. His average finish isn't great this year compared to, last year he was, it's hard to compare with what he did last year with what he's doing this year, but in regards to a lot of the contenders, he's right there. He had a bad run at Bristol, but other than that, he's ripped off nothing but top fives and top tens since Loudon. So
you know who Kevin Harvick reminds me of this year? Joey Logano.
A little bit.
It's Joey Logano last season.
Yeah, that's a good way to. That's a good comparison.
He's
I like
not
that.
on anybody's radar right now, but he's getting good at the right point.
Yeah.
Kicks off a couple wins here in the playoffs, gets himself in that Final Four, and nobody's gonna be watching for him.
Yeah, it's weird to say that he's a sleeper. Everybody realizes what he did last year. But yeah, you're right. That's a great comp. I'm pulling up Joey's stats from last year, just so I want to get because Joey only won 3 races last year, compared to the 8 Harvick and Busch had.
Right.
But heading into the playoffs last year, Logano. Again, he was pretty consistent. He had a couple of bad finishes, but he was just top fiving everybody to death, top fives and top tens. And then once we got past Indy and went to Vegas, he was just solid. He had one race outside the top 10, and then he was already locked into the Final Four when he crashed at Phoenix.
This system favors that type of season. We
it's
had
kind of like baseball a little bit. You know how baseball teams get hot?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we had Martin Truex Jr. do it with just racking up stage points and then winning when he should. But if you really look at the system, I think when the story is written on the system, the guy who wins the championship generally isn't going to be that guy.
Yeah.
I don't think it's set up to be that way, and that's what's exciting about it.
Yeah, there's an imbalance, right? There's the top contenders. Last year's the best example. You had 2 guys really. In Truex, I would lump him in there too. But Harvick and Busch were so dominant, and then
one guy who wasn't supposed to win won.
Yeah,
You
we went to the Final Four, and there was the 3 guys we talked about all season, and Logano took it to him.
The whole year we talked about who's going to be the 4th guy, and the 4th guy is the one who won the championship.
Yep, exactly.
So who knows what'll happen this year? Probably the biggest news on the weekend: Jimmie Johnson.
It's over.
He had a decent day. For the most part, it was going well.
I was going to text you. He was there. Where did he finish that first stage? He had a top, was he 6th or 5th?
Something like that, yeah.
But he was behind Newman still. But I thought, man, he's making it interesting. It's not over.
Mm-hmm. He seemed to have some fire.
Yeah, he top 10 in stage 2 as well.
A little too much fire, though.
A little too much fire, yeah. Yeah, whose fault was that? What do you think? Battling Byron. So, quick synopsis, he was battling Byron in the corner, and
it was, I'd say, Kurt Busch was on the outside, wasn't he? Was it Kurt on the outside?
Yeah, it was the contingent, the 3 of them, I think.
Whoever was on the outside, it was their fault most of all.
Yeah.
But it's just 3 wide at Indy.
It's just racing.
First of all, when did we ever talk about 3 wide at Indy?
Not very often.
Not on the corner. Not in the corner.
I know. It's the restarts were great, by the way. There was some good stuff going on there, but
Jimmie, I think the way he sounded on the radio, he was upset with Byron.
Yeah. It looked like Byron kind of. There was a bobble.
Didn't have anywhere to go. He couldn't.
It's a racing deal. It's a racing deal.
Yeah, I think you're 3 wide.
And Jimmie's going to be upset because of everything he lost. The streak's over. He's not going to win. Chasing 8's over.
Right.
Until next year, he's going to try it again.
Now, does Jimmie going to win this year now? Pressure's off.
Pressure's off. Just go for it, right?
Yeah.
They said they've been getting faster, and I mean, yeah, you can see the team's getting better, but still, to get beat out the way that they did, they just limped it to the end there.
Yeah.
But to have your 300 teammates and you be the only one out, that's so strange.
Right.
That he's the worst performing guy out there. But they had some turmoil on their team, a lot of turnover this year. Easy to see why.
Yep.
But yeah, it's weird. It's just weird. We're not going to have to worry about Jimmie Johnson winning a championship.
Yeah.
That's
10 years ago, we'd have been going, yes.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, and everybody's pulling. Well, he's jumped the shark, man. He's that guy now. He is our living legend. Kurt Busch, the same thing. We got those guys hanging around.
I didn't get to listen to it much because I ended up listening to the radio on the way here to make sure I wasn't driving into a tornado. But Jimmie is the guest on Junior's Download this week.
They got some stories. I've already read one of them.
I listened to just the start of Jimmie, but just the Junior's so much fun to listen to. I love that podcast. I think it's the best NASCAR podcast out there.
There was
consistently the best NASCAR podcast out there.
Yeah, it's good.
Nate Ryan has some really great ones. There's definitely some good ones at times, but I think Junior's is consistently
good. If you want the entertainment value, he brings the high entertainment value.
Junior's good if you're not a race fan, and as well as if you are a race fan.
Yeah, you're a casual fan.
See, I like Junior because I don't think I liked it as much when he wasn't doing TV. I like the TV side of things and his explanation of that.
He's doing really well with his post-race media work that he's been doing.
Yeah. Let's see. What else? We had all kinds of stuff happen in this race. Kyle Busch blew a motor. Again, we mentioned it. Didn't have the car to win at that point, but was working toward that. Mm-hmm. Likely would have been a contender. He won the day before. Probably had the grumpiest victory celebration I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And I think the reason why is going to come up in our Do We Care topic here in a few minutes.
He's such a grump, man.
Kyle Larson had a great car all day and
I put it in the notes. He blew another opportunity. He again has to blame himself.
That's the story of Kyle Larson.
That's his whole season.
Yeah.
And they're bringing fast pieces, and he finds a way to wreck them.
Kyle Larson used too much luck in the sprint car race.
Yes.
On Thursday. Was it Thursday, Wednesday night?
Yeah, I think it was Thursday night he won that. Yeah.
That replay was insane.
Yeah, that was some great racing, by the way. That short track they built inside Indianapolis is phenomenal.
Midget sprints are great.
Yeah.
Anywhere.
Some big crashes and craziness.
The Chili Bowl's on my list of things I've got to do eventually.
Very good.
I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon, but
yeah.
Let's see. Ryan Newman gets in. Daniel Suarez out. I'm going to say I called it, James.
You did.
I thought Newman was going to.
Yeah, I think you talked me into it last week because of the way that Ryan Newman's just been bulldog. Mm-hmm. He's just that's my nickname for him all season. He's just a bulldog.
He was just in front of people.
Oh, hold. Hi, Ellie. You're what? Sure.
All right, we'll pause.
Pause him for just a second. Okay, we can whenever you're ready to go back live. I can't remember where we left off.
I'll just say welcome back, James.
Welcome back. Yeah. Perfect.
All right.
Dad duty.
Yeah, it is freaking downpouring.
And it's downpouring. Yeah, we are battling. We're doing really well. We're powering through.
Yeah.
I'm proud of us.
Exactly. It's because it's the only chance we have all week. My rest of my week is booked. It's ridiculous. So Daniel Suarez misses the cut. Bubba Wallace almost played the spoiler.
Yeah. He was trying.
Third place finish for Bubba, right? He finished third?
He finished third, yeah. And he was flying at the end. There's a video, an overhead shot of him. He gets a massive run down the backstretch, and he's it looked a little bit like Days of Thunder. He's inside, he's outside, making passes, and just phenomenal racing from Bubba Wallace. And then you played it at the intro, but he took some shots at his Twitter haters.
Yeah,
I loved it.
I have more of that. So here's the beginning of his interview with NBC, which this didn't air during the actual broadcast. It was during the post-race.
I didn't see it. I was off to. It was Lions.
I saw everybody throwing a fit on social media about the fact that he wasn't on the post race. So they switched it. NBC does a pretty good job of when it's on NBC, they switch over to NBCSN.
Yep.
You can't criticize NBC for not giving the post-race
They
coverage.
give enough.
They give a ton of it in their post-race
and football's
show.
coming.
You have to flip the channel to get it.
It was opening day of the NFL, and they have the primetime game of the week.
Right.
So, I mean, they've got stuff. NBC's got programming ready to roll.
Exactly. So here's what Bubba had to say.
I don't know. It's not supposed to happen. According to Twitter, we're supposed to run 25th to 30th all week and crash cars. It's pretty banged up. But King come down and give me a big bear hug. I haven't had one of those hugs since the 500 last year. So, it's a special day and special weekend when he's excited. He's not sitting on the plane already waiting on us.
I love Bubba.
Yeah. Think about what he's working with and some of the runs that he's had.
Yeah.
You and I are Bubba truthers, man. We think if he just got a decent shot at it, he'd be in pretty good shape.
Yeah.
You know, he could make something happen. He could be a DiBenedetto.
I was going to say there was a pretty good ride that opened up for about 10 seconds today.
Yeah, and that didn't happen. Yeah, it's not happening for him.
Yeah, so we'll get to that coming up too. Trying to think, anything else in this race that's worth really talking about? Again, we talked about the intensity. Oh, I have one thing. I love NBC. I love the things that they're trying, and I'm a gigantic fan of Mike Bagley. And I really like the radio style broadcast.
But here it comes.
I'm just done with it.
Yeah.
You know, here's the problem with it for me is it's too gimmicky.
And Junior hates it, by the way.
Yeah, I know. He told a story on his podcast about why he hated it at Pocono because the door was ripped off of his bus right underneath him, about 50 yards away from him. Anyway, it's just so it's neat because it sounds cool. But the problem is you've got, especially when Mike's doing it, because Mike's used to doing radio, and it's nothing against him, but he's describing what you're already seeing.
Yeah.
And I don't need to know what I'm already seeing. This is why I like when I go to a race, I flip the scanner over to the TV broadcast versus the radio broadcast because I don't want play-by-play. I want analysis.
Yeah.
And maybe that's just me. Maybe that's a unique thing for me. I'm glad they only do it a couple times a year. I wish they did it once a year, and that was it. It works on a road course.
It does work on the road course. Yeah.
You know, I don't think it needs to go away on the road courses, but on an oval track, I didn't think it worked at Pocono. I don't think it works here.
I don't think it's anybody's fault. I think you hire Mike Bagley because you want the Mike Bagley experience, right?
Exactly.
And you don't want him to change.
No.
Do your thing.
Exactly.
And that's fine. It's just maybe not everybody's cup of tea.
Yeah, and I hate to be that guy that's got to find something to bitch about because it's still cool. I'm not going to say I'm not watching
NBC.
It's
not ruining the experience,
no, it's
right?
not.
Yeah.
I just think we miss out on something with the radio style broadcast. I noticed that, I can't remember if it was Pocono this year or if it was, I think it was Indy last year. I noticed that we were missing out on storylines that you're not seeing because, or they're not talking about because they're doing this radio style thing. And they do a good job of doing it part of the race and then going to the traditional style otherwise. The one thing I do love about it is when there's a wreck in the corner of one of the announcers and they just interrupt the broadcast and scream into that's cool. I love that.
I love when Mike Bagley says he pounds the outside safer barrier. I love that. That's one of my favorite.
Yep.
You know.
So that just reminds me every time. It's like somebody always wrecks when you're listening to the radio broadcast. Somebody always wrecks under Dave Moody.
Oh yeah.
And Dave Moody's call of a wreck is just spectacular every time. So it could go, but if they keep it, I'm not going to complain about it.
I like hearing the MRN guys, so it doesn't matter.
I love seeing Mike Bagley get the opportunity to be on TV. That's awesome and great for him. And again, it's nothing he's doing. It's really nothing anybody is doing wrong. I just feel like we're missing something with it.
Right.
So with that, it's the playoffs, James.
Yeah, man.
We have our playoff grids.
You know, one thing we should mention, that Keselowski wreck, really quick.
Yeah, let's
talk
about that.
Before we close out on Indy, I should mention that. He pounded that thing.
He did.
And then got out of the car, and Matt Weaver pointed this out, and I was thinking it. Mm-hmm. Why did he climb out of the car when it was tipped up on the tires like that?
I don't know, because that car could have rolled right over on top of him.
I trust Brad's judgment, I guess, but that was pretty scary.
Generally, when your car is not on all four tires, you want to get out as quick as possible.
Yeah, but maybe he should have stayed in there.
Yeah, I think so.
And Indianapolis is already looking at how to fix that issue.
Yeah, actually, I think the president of Indianapolis Speedway already said he's going to sit down with Brad and get some suggestions from him.
Yeah, that was probably one of the big moments of the race. I just felt like we should probably mention that.
That wall is terrible. It's been hit before. Those tires have been hit before. They were hit last year. Pretty sure they've been hitting IndyCar too.
Oh yeah.
As a matter of fact, I know they were hitting Indy.
What about the entrance pit wall at Indianapolis? It's just there.
So since you brought this up, Brad had a good point, and I agree with him. Indianapolis Motor Speedway was the forefront of safety with the safer barriers, but they never moved from that point. Right. We have still most of the walls do not have safer barriers on them. All the straightaway walls do not have safer barriers on them. We have a lot of racetrack to cover, by the way. Yeah, exactly. We got just for the record. We have that god awful pit wall, the pit entrance. The cars can spin off that same spin that Brad Keselowski did. They can do on the other end of the track and turn forward and go right onto pit road. Yep. Pit road's too small. I can't tell you how scary that Jimmie Johnson wreck was on pit road. Jimmie Johnson's pit crew's
There's no room.
And Chase Elliott gets turned around, and as Chase Elliott's car is sliding toward him, all I can think is Jeff Bodine back in Jeff O'Neill and Bill Elliott when Bill Elliott's crew member was killed.
Yep.
I mean, they're going a lot slower than they went back then, but still, if somebody would gotten pinned there.
Small pit road. Those cars are still going 55.
Exactly.
Or whatever the speed is. But
exactly.
When a car's driving by you at 55 miles an hour.
Yeah, go stand on the highway and tell me what it's like when the cars go by you. That's really
pit road
fast.
speed, man.
If you've never stood on pit road, they go fast.
Yeah.
It's scary.
Yeah.
They need to do some work there, and I get it. It's a historic facility. We don't want to change too much. Whatever. I'm sorry. History doesn't mean crap if people are getting hurt. Nobody got hurt.
Yep.
But we're risking
I know we
it.
only won there once a year for Cup, but IndyCar more so than even Cup is more dangerous. And
this track is already super dangerous because of the 90-degree turns.
And we saw some crashes this weekend, and that F3. I mean, I know I had sent you that F3 crash, which if you guys haven't seen that, just Google F3 crash and you'll come across it. But
we're talking about Brad's crash. And Brad's crash looks spectacular, but Landon Castle's crash.
Landon Castle's was hard. He was hurting.
That was about the hardest hit you'll see in NASCAR.
Yeah.
So
glad everybody's okay. I mean, I don't know what's going on with Indy with these wrecks, but man, guys are taking some poundings out there.
It's turned into quite the place. I'll tell you.
And there's it's not just pit road that doesn't have a lot of room. That track is not a lot of room there.
No, somebody wrecks on the front stretch, you take out everybody. I mean, we saw that a couple years ago.
You're driving 190 miles an hour into a 90-degree turn is really what you're doing.
Yeah, and the other thing with Indy too is and I heard Junior talked about it in his podcast. I saw some people post on Reddit about it as well. From the TV broadcast, it looks like the attendance sucked again. And first of all, you got to track the seats 200,000 people.
You're not going to put 200,000
people in there. So no matter what you do,
100,000
people could show up, which is a really good crowd.
Yeah.
It's still going to look empty.
Yeah.
That being said, your camera shots get the lower part of the grandstand on the front stretch.
And everybody wants to be high because
everybody wants to be high in the turns.
You can't see there.
You can't see the backstretch. There's no seat at Indianapolis. Hell, even the spotters can't see the whole track.
That's right.
They use 2 spotters on each side of the pagoda.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you see my tweet I retweeted from NASCAR Man this week? Dale Jr.'s qualifying lap.
No, I did not.
Okay, so NASCAR Man, go to my Twitter if you want to see it. It just shows the 2006 qualifying, and they kept breaking the track record. And the PA announcer, every time they would, and it's a new track record, and they were doing that. But what I noticed was the grandstands for qualifying were jam packed. It is a startling scene to see. There must have been over 100,000 people there for that qualifying lap. So please just go to my Twitter and take a look.
It's crazy to just go to Michigan and see the qualifying crowd anymore because but qualifying used to matter.
Yeah.
It's
different times now.
You used to get 50 or 60 cars show up for a race.
Yeah.
People go home. It was actually worth watching.
Yeah, and we can talk about this till the day is over. But
Junior said on his podcast this week, and I agree with him, we're turning a corner. Things are starting to get better. Attendance is starting to get better, but you're not going to go from 40,000 people showing up last year to 200,000 people. It's not going to happen.
We're never going to get that attendance again.
No.
We had the boom, and that's fine.
Yep.
We've settled back into a good spot.
Yep. Indianapolis 500 gets the attendance because of the history behind the race. Brickyard 400 is never going to have that history, as much as the NASCAR drivers and NASCAR and Indianapolis want it to.
Think about sports fan bases really quick. What's the most passionate sports fans out there of any of the major sports?
Football?
Not football.
Okay.
Hockey.
Yeah,
and
that's true.
They defend their sport to the T, man.
That's true.
And they are super passionate. Mm-hmm. But guess what? Not that many people go to NHL games. I'm sorry to say.
Especially not in Detroit.
But they are rowdy. Yeah. But they are rowdy and they love their sport. And if we're NASCAR fans, who cares if it's 200,000 or if it's 40,000? If you're a 40,000 crowd, bring the rowdiness, man.
Yeah,
bring the intensity.
We talked about that here. Who gives a crap how many people are showing up?
I don't care.
People are making money. NASCAR's making money.
Yeah, it's easy to get in and out of the track. I don't care.
Yep,
we're
exactly.
Good.
Who cares? All right, so let's get to this playoff.
Moving to the playoffs. Yep. Let's roll.
So we'll quick run down the 16 that made the playoffs. Kyle Busch, Denny Hamlin, Martin Truex Jr., Kevin Harvick, Joey Logano, Brad Keselowski, Chase Elliott, Kurt Busch, Alex Bowman, Eric Jones, Kyle Larson, Ryan Blaney, William Byron, Eric Almirola, Clint Boyer, and Ryan Newman.
The Rocket Man.
Yes. So we have on our website, if you go to thesuperspeedway.com, the show notes are up there, and there's a link to the printable playoff grid. You can fill out your playoff grid and join us in our bracket challenge.
We do it every year. Yep.
James is going to take control of this and award points for everybody. James, give us the rules on this.
Okay, I'm going to keep it simple. If you any driver you pick that advances to the round of 12 and the round of 8, those are 5 points per round. So simple, you get awarded points. If you pick a driver and they don't make it, you don't get points for that driver.
There you go.
You get them to the final 4, 15 points per driver, and if you pick the champion, you get 25 points. Last year we did right and wrong, and it was okay. I can't remember who won the dang thing, but we just do this for fun. It's kind of like our fantasy league, which is not fun for me and Eric, but just something we want you guys to do. But what we decided was if you want to print your bracket and scan it and email it or whatever you want to do, fill it out online or just text it. Just email thesuperspeedway@gmail.com, and I'll keep track of the brackets. We'll announce our winners at the end of the season.
There you go.
And then I'll go round by round and give everybody an update where we're at.
Okay, and we'll go through our brackets here in just a second.
And
Ellie
wants to come and say
to get her
goodnight.
bracket in.
Are you going tonight? Oh, you're gonna play in your room? Cool. Can I have a hug?
So we just took a break, and I don't know still what I was going to say.
Ellie had to say goodnight.
Ellie
So
had to
we
say
just finished the rules, and again,
Yes.
we'll just say one more time, email thesuperspeedway@gmail.com. Get your brackets in. Like Eric said, we have the link in the show notes. You can get everything there. And then, we'll pick drivers, and we'll have some fun.
There we go. So let's talk about our playoff grid, James. I think the way we've done this in the past is we kind of go back and forth, right?
We do, yeah. We each pick a. You'll say your driver, and if I have that driver, we'll maybe discuss it for a quick second,
Right.
and then we'll talk about our differences as well.
Okay. Las Vegas, Richmond, and Charlotte are our first three races. Charlotte is our cutoff to
The
go
Roval
to.
Charlotte,
Yes,
by
the
the way.
Roval of Charlotte.
Yes.
That's our cutoff for the round of 12. I'm going to go down a couple of them here because I know we're both.
Yeah,
just
we
gonna
got a
have
lot of them
We
on
both
the
have
same.
Kyle Busch, right?
Yes, we do.
Denny Hamlin.
Yep.
Martin Truex Jr.
That's right.
Kevin Harvick.
Yep.
Okay, we're safe to say those four we've got. I have Joey Logano.
I do too.
Okay, how about Brad Keselowski?
I have Keselowski.
Chase Elliott.
I have Chase Elliott.
Kurt Busch.
I do not have Kurt Busch.
Okay, I have Kurt Busch slipping through. He's one of my sleepers here.
And here's where I may have erred on that.
Okay.
Richmond.
Yeah.
He probably will be pretty strong at Richmond.
Yeah, he'll be good at Richmond.
I had to figure. Somebody has to come out of that group, and I just don't know about Kurt. I mean, he's been pretty good all year. He's consistent, but there's some guys coming up behind him that I like a little bit more.
Okay. How about Eric Jones?
I have Eric Jones. I think he's coming quick.
I have him as well. Kyle Larson.
I have Kyle Larson.
I think I can't remember. He didn't make this round last year, right? This was the one he.
No, he did. Remember he.
That's right.
At the last lap of the Roval,
Yes,
and he
that's
was
right.
driving on three wheels
Yep.
and made it and knocked Johnson out.
How about Ryan Blaney?
I have Ryan Blaney.
How about William Byron?
I do not have Byron.
I figured you wouldn't have Byron either. So Byron
He's going to be fast. We
Byron
know that.
is my last one. That's my 12th one.
Okay.
I don't know. It was tough. So who are your two that you have that are different than mine?
All right. So I had Bowman.
Okay.
I think Bowman's just been consistent, and he's going to run Vegas well. I'm not so sure about how he's going to do at the Roval. That's kind of a wild card for us. We're just kind of guessing at that
I went
point.
back and forth on Bowman and Byron.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons I went with Blaney too. He's a great road course racer.
Yeah.
So I kept him on in this round.
Yeah, I didn't think about Bowman in that aspect, but
He's just consistent. Bowman's just been consistent.
it's probably a better pick than Byron. Just for some reason, I just felt like Byron over Bowman.
Yep. And then I wanted to get somebody up into the top 12, and I think Eric Almirola is going to make it on. I don't like the way Clint Bowyer's been running. Ryan Newman's a great story, but I just can't see him making it out of this round with this competition. This is going to be these teams are all going to take it up a level.
Yeah.
And I don't know what Roush Fenway can do to get Ryan Newman any more support than they're already giving him. That team, I think, is giving everything they got right now.
That's true. Yeah, like I said, Bowman and Byron I could go back and forth on. I feel like Kurt Busch gets in. I feel like Kurt Busch is running too good.
Yeah, of all these drivers, he's probably, if from Bowman, Almirola, maybe even Blaney, he's probably the best driver. Not moving on from me. He's pretty dang good, man. He's had a good
he's just
season.
got no pressure.
Yeah, he
Kurt's-
really
there's-
doesn't.
There's no pressure.
And he's
for
got
Kurt.
fast cars.
Yeah.
I could see where this is probably going to be a mistake on my end, but like I said, there's always something we don't quite expect.
Right.
And I feel like a lot of these guys are locks, man. Like Brad Keselowski's not going to go on. Come on, he's
Right.
making it. Eric Jones has been on a roll. I can't take him out.
Yeah,
So-
I went. I mean, I didn't take really much for risks. That's probably
Yeah.
the biggest risk I took was William Byron in the
Yeah.
round 12. Otherwise, I didn't take any. Let's see if we end up with the same 8 though here.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I've got a little bit of a surprise here coming up. So
Okay. Kyle Busch, we both have, I'm
Yep.
assuming.
Yep.
Denny Hamlin,
That's right.
Martin Truex Jr.,
I did have him as well.
Kevin Harvick.
Yep.
How about Joey Logano?
I have Joey Logano.
How about Brad Keselowski?
I have Brett Keselowski.
How about Chase Elliott?
I have Chase Elliott.
Wow, you have Chase Elliott. How about Eric Jones?
I do not have Jones.
Who do you have taking Jones's place?
I have Kyle Larson.
Interesting. See,
Yeah.
I feel like Larson's going to do the Larson thing, and he's just not going to do it.
Yep. I like him at Dover.
Okay, that's
I like him at Dover,
Yeah.
and I think he'll be a fast piece at Kansas. Talladega's our wild card here.
Yep.
So this is what I love about the round.
Eric Jones is so good right now.
He's been really good. I know.
I think
I know.
Eric Jones is good enough. I don't know. Can you points your way into round 8? I mean, you can.
Yeah.
But can he points his way enough into the round of 8?
I don't know. That's the problem I have with Talladega in this round.
Yeah.
It's like
Talladega's a crapshoot. You never know.
yeah.
And heck, somebody out of the top 12 could win Talladega. And
Yeah.
Then
Well, shoot, Eric Jones could win one of these races, and I mean, as good as he's been running, I don't know. I had to pull somebody out of there. I love Chase Elliott at Kansas.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's an obvious pick there. I love Harvick at Dover.
Chase is good at Dover too.
Yep, Chase is great at Dover. This is his round. He won 2 of these races last year.
Yep.
But I love Larson at Dover as well. Even though he's had his issues, he's still got fast cars, just like Kurt Busch. The same argument. I'm kind of playing devil's advocate or whatever, however you want to play it. I'm splitting the deck on blackjack, I guess, with the Ganassi cars, but I'll take Larson over Kurt in that instance.
I feel like Kurt Busch has a better chance of getting through than Larson does.
Probably.
I think
I don't
Kurt
think
Busch
you're
has
wrong.
made himself, not just because he's won a race this year, but I think Kurt Busch has made himself the top Ganassi car this year.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. He's been more consistent for sure, and he's got the win in his back pocket.
All right, so how about you do the top 4? Who's your top 4?
Okay, Kyle Busch,
Yep,
Denny Hamlin,
yep,
Kevin Harvick.
yep.
Oh, here's where I'm going to surprise you. I'm going with Larson.
Really?
Yeah. I got one wild card in here because somebody always sneaks around that you don't quite think is going to make it. And this is definitely reaching. I know.
Who was your next pick after Larson? Let's say you
I
didn't
would.
pick Larson.
Yeah, I would have to say Martin Truex Jr.
I went Brad Keselowski.
You think so?
Yeah, I don't know why I just don't feel like we're going to have 3 JGR cars in the final
It's
4.
going to be pretty dang tough to get 3 in there. Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised.
That's
if
why
there
I
were,
didn't want to pick him.
But
And I'm knocking out Joey Logano here. And
same here.
I mean, Martinsville's on there. He won that last year.
Well, and I went back and forth with Logano and Keselowski.
There's just something not quite there with those guys,
Yeah.
right? I mean, there's
That's
something
true.
there.
That's true.
But Harvick's on it. I like Harvick over the Penske guys.
Yeah.
And him and
we've
Rodney.
got Martinsville, which is a Truex race.
I feel like Kevin Harvick finds his way into that dang Homestead race every year, too.
That's because they've got ISM.
Yep, and that's part
you
of
know?
it.
Yeah.
And Kyle's going to be great there.
Yep.
Denny's going to be good at Martinsville. Denny's good everywhere this year. Denny doesn't really have a weak spot right now.
No.
He's been,
Well, who's your pick?
well, I think you and I agree. I think this is the year.
I think it is too.
I think this is the year.
I got
if
Denny
he's
as my
ever
winner.
going to do it, Eric,
Yep.
this is it.
Yep. He's been too good this year. Then again, we've already said that doesn't matter with
Yep.
this format. But
Yep, and I think Kyle Busch finds a way to screw it up.
yeah, I think so too.
Well,
I
not
agree
just
with
Kyle
that.
Busch, the 18 team.
Yeah, I agree with that.
They
as
should have
well.
won the dang thing last year.
Yep.
And anything other than a championship for Kyle Busch at this point in his career is just the worst.
Yeah, it is. I mean, that's the thing is he should just win a championship every year.
He should. He's the best driver out there, and he's got the best cars.
Yep.
But
agreed.
somehow, some way, that 18 car figures out a way not to win the championship.
Yep.
They should have won the last couple.
Yeah, they really should have.
He should be at least tied with Tony Stewart in I think he's left a couple championships on the. And he's
Yeah.
going to regret it
Yeah.
when
I think so.
it comes down to his end of his career. And
Yeah, when he wins 7 championships and he could have won an 8th or 9th.
I don't think he'll get that many, but man,
I don't think so either.
No, I think the window's closed on him winning that many titles.
I think
especially with this format.
The window's closed on anybody winning that many
Nobody's
titles.
getting to 7 again.
Although we didn't think anybody would when Jimmie won them every year.
Yeah, but Jimmie won it under different circumstances than this. This is
Yeah.
more of a if you get 3.
Congratulations to NASCAR for finally figuring out a format that Jimmie can't win.
And another, exactly. Although he did win it though.
Yeah, you're right.
He did win
You're
one.
right.
He did win
That's
one.
right. They changed it up a little bit though with stage points and all that.
That's
now.
true. That's true. Yeah. One thing I would mention too is every year it seems like we're getting a different championship winner. We don't have any repeat winners since Stewart.
Yeah.
Well, it's Stewart and Johnson, I should admit.
Right.
We keep forgetting Jimmie. What is wrong with us?
I don't know. We've
But anyway,
blocked
over the
him from our
last,
memory.
So but you could say it this way. Since Tony Stewart won in 2011, we haven't had any repeat winners since that point. I think
Right.
that's what I was trying to say. So that would rule out, in theory, that would rule out Harvick and Busch off my board, and Denny Hamlin would be the next guy up. So I don't know how the racing gods are going to play that out, but yeah, that's just the way it's been. Somebody comes out of nowhere, and Denny Hamlin's really good at Homestead, and I'll take my odds with him.
I'm looking at the list of the top 16, and I really only see I see one, and I'm not going to name who it is, but I see one that I'd be disappointed with winning the championship.
One guy?
Yeah, I think just one guy.
Clint Boyer?
Nope.
No, I'm just kidding.
Clint Boyer. Clint Boyer.
He'd be a great champion. Champion.
You think Brad Keselowski was fun after winning the championship?
Right.
Can you imagine the party with Clint Boyer if he wins the championship? He's not going to, but
let me name a couple of names, and you tell me if okay. Let's do it this way. I'll name a name, and you say. I was
trying not to incriminate anybody.
We'll play the Would you be shocked if they won the championship game?
Okay, that's a fun game.
Would you be shocked? So I'm taking a few guys off the board: Hamlin, Busch, Truex, Harvick, Logano, and Keselowski.
Yeah.
All right, let's start from here. Chase Elliott. Would you be surprised?
Surprised, not shocked.
Surprised, not shocked. I like that. Kurt Busch.
No, wouldn't be surprised.
Wouldn't be surprised?
I don't think so.
Wow, you're really high on Kurt.
Yeah, I like Kurt.
Okay, good. Alex Bowman.
Yeah,
I would too.
I'd be pretty shocked.
Eric Jones.
No, I wouldn't either. Be. I think Eric Jones is a sleeper. He's in
a select group. I'm disappointed in myself for not putting him in the round of 8. I'm instantly regretting that. Kyle Larson. What do we think about Kyle Larson? I got him in the Final Four, but he's kind of a sleeper for me.
I wouldn't be surprised. I don't think I'd be surprised even to see him do it.
If he got to the Final Four, right?
There. Yeah, he's got to get to the Final Four.
That's what I've been saying for 3 years.
Yep.
Get to the Final Four.
Which is why it's funny that you have him in the Final Four but not winning the championship.
Yeah, I know. Trust me, he'll mess it up if he gets there. Okay, we'll do one more driver. The other ones I'm not sure are legit contenders at all. Ryan Blaney. Surprised?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would be too.
Yeah, I'd be
so
surprised.
Eric Jones seems like
Blaney just hasn't shown enough to me. Jones has just been good enough. I mean,
not great, not great, but good enough.
He's good enough to where he could go on a tear.
Kind of like Joey Logano last year.
Yeah, exactly. He's good enough where he can go on a tear. Is he gonna? Would he points his way into it to have a shot? No,
probably not.
He's got to win some races.
Yeah.
But I would not be surprised to see Jones click off 3 races in the championship.
Yeah, I wouldn't either.
He's been there.
Yeah.
I'd
say the same for Chase.
Well, it's funny that I'd say differently about Bowman because Bowman's been there a lot too.
Mm-hmm. And they both have one win.
Yeah, but I just don't see. Let's put it this way: I would be less surprised to see Eric Jones win a championship than Chase Elliott this year.
Yeah, I think so.
I think Jones got a better shot.
Part of it too is he's racing Joe Gibbs racing.
That
equipment.
too.
That's a big part of it. Yeah, I mean that's all part of it. That's a piece of the puzzle. It's a team sport in that sense. Yep. So. But I wouldn't be surprised if Chase Elliott won a title. If he got hot at the right time, we've seen him get streaky.
Yeah.
So, yeah, who knows? But
we don't have long to figure it out. Can you believe 10 weeks left in the season?
We have 10 weeks to go.
That is insane. Let's get on to the news. We don't have a whole lot. I'll really quick buzz through the thing we don't have on the list here, which is that it looks as if Christopher Bell's going to get signed in the 95 car.
2
Not
weeks
really
away.
News. We already knew that.
Yeah.
But we were kind of surprised today, sort of, because
we talked about this on the podcast.
There were rumors. So Paul Menard had a press conference at Kentucky, and there was a big swarm of media.
You were at that
there.
press conference.
At that press conference, and I thought for sure Menard's going to announce his retirement because there were rumors at that time that he was going to retire at the end of the season. And then it turned out to be just a sponsorship thing with Quaker State, and it was, who cares, no big deal.
Yeah.
And then he had another press conference at Michigan, and again, no announcement, just another, Ford thing I think was there. And we find out today that Paul Menard is retiring at the end of the season. Oh, it didn't load fast. Come on.
Filibuster.
There you go. This is for James.
Yes. To be honest, I'm going to miss that little guy.
Of course.
No, I texted, actually Todd hopped on the group chat with us on Facebook, and he said, how about Matt DiBenedetto? And I'm like, even better, Paul Menard retired.
Yeah, I was pretty happy that I saw the news before James did today.
You did? You beat me to it.
Yeah, so Matt DiBenedetto was getting a 21 card. I completely I did not expect that.
Don't you remember us talking about this like 5 or 6 episodes ago.
Probably, but
We talked about it. Like you were talking about where can he go, and
Yeah.
I was like, "What about the 21?" And we
Yeah.
both thought we both kind of ruled it out. We're like, "No, Paul said he's coming back. We have
Yeah.
to take him for his word, right?"
right.
Man, sports in 2019 is so flung. I mean, if we've learned anything from Andrew Luck and Antonio Brown,
Right.
nothing is safe in sports.
Yeah.
Even if your name is Menard and you sponsor a race car, you could be out.
So how big of a deal for Matt DiBenedetto is this?
Oh, this is now it's a 1-year deal.
But he's in a Penske car.
He's in a Penske car.
I mean,
he upgrades his equipment.
Big time.
Yeah,
This is
he's in a
This
Penske.
is
He's in the
the-
Penske house.
the step he needed. I mean, this is the one that we were like last week going.
This was it.
He can't. There's nobody
There's
there.
nowhere for
There's
him to
nowhere
go.
for him to go. This
Yeah.
is it.
Yeah,
I mean, how amazing is
yeah.
that?
We thought he'd take David Reagan's spot, maybe, but he said he had parameters on where he would go, and he wasn't going to take that ride.
So does he win a race next year? I know this is completely just throwing in.
Man, I say he'd win a race this year. I still think he might.
Yeah, he could.
I don't know. It's tough. This sport can be. This can take it from you and just as fast as it can give it to you. You know.
Yep.
But I think he's got a good shot.
Yeah.
I think he
He'll
could.
definitely have the best shot he's ever had.
This is it, man.
Daytona.
Yep, he'll be good in
Daytona
Daytona.
500. Can you imagine Matt
Bristol.
DiBenedetto first win Daytona 500?
Yep.
First,
First
Wood
ride.
Brothers gets back in victory lane at Daytona after
Yep.
2011.
Yep, after the Bane.
Ah, dang.
Yeah, it'd be good.
I'm excited for Matt.
All this kind of fell into place for Matt. I love this for him. Ross Chastain's probably kicking himself a little bit. Like
Yeah.
this could have been him in a different world. As
Yep.
Now Kurt Busch looks like he's going to stay. But yeah, man, Matt DiBenedetto. If you're not rooting for this guy already, start thinking about it because he workhorsed his way into a top tier ride.
Yep. Not only that, but he also took risks.
Bet on himself.
He bailed. I mean, not really bailed, but he left a ride that essentially was.
He took a risk.
Yeah.
I'm betting on
it
himself.
just wasn't going to work for him
Yep.
anymore. He couldn't do anything else there and just, bet on that he'd find something in a sport that is almost impossible to find something in.
Yep.
And got the deal with Levine. And
Yep.
now he's been able to prove himself this year in that car and show what he can do there in a car that Casey Kane struggled in.
Yep.
And
He
look what he's got.
navigated this move years in advance. Just if things break a little bit differently, this never happens
No.
for him. Think about what happened to Ross Chastain. That's the complete opposite of what's happening to Matt DiBenedetto.
Yeah.
Chastain has done the same thing.
Yeah.
Put his money in DC Solar, or put his career in the hands of DC Solar, and
Yeah.
all of a sudden he's down in the Truck Series, doing very well, mind you.
Right.
But now Matt DiBenedetto, we've seen what he's capable of.
Yep.
And now he's got he's got Penske equipment to really show what he's got. Huge for this guy, man. And this is the way to climb the ladder in NASCAR now. Unless you're bringing a ton of sponsorship, and Matt's not bringing a ton of sponsorship, but he gets to keep Menards. Menards is going to stick with him. I mean, that's huge.
Yeah.
And Menards is a big partner with Penske, so man, what a perfect spot for him.
Yep.
Really well done. Really happy for this guy. Just a great story for NASCAR.
Yeah, and there's a spot for him. I don't expect Keselowski to step out anytime real soon, but there's always potential there.
You never know.
Penske could always throw another car in. They've got one open car.
They've got an open slot. Yeah.
But the 21 basically is a Penske car anyway. If you go to the Penske shop, you see the 21 car there.
Yep.
So
And Logano's not going anywhere.
No.
He's going to be there for another 15 years.
yeah, Logano is going to finish his career at Penske.
I think so.
More
yeah.
than likely.
More than likely. Yep.
Um,
And Blaney's a young buck too, so the
Yeah.
only one is Keselowski, but he's kind of like Denny Hamlin.
I
He's
could see Blaney's days being numbered there. Not anytime soon.
if he doesn't perform, or
Next 2 years, yeah.
he could be a hot. You know what I was thinking too is Stuart Haas at some point is going to start gobbling up young talent, and there's a lot of young talent out there that can be gobbled up. So
Yeah.
I think Stuart Haas is going to be a player for some free agency guys in the next couple of years.
Yeah. Daniel Suarez, you think he's going to stay there? You think
After this year, I think Stuart Haas probably has no other choice but to keep him for another year.
Yeah.
And it looks like
All it takes is a little money.
I
Buy a
know.
contract
Well, I
out.
mean, look at what's going on with the Boyer stuff. Rush Truck Centers is basically saying we want him to stay.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
Stuart Haas is kind of stuck with their lineup for now, which it's a good lineup. But you'd rather be Joe Gibbs.
Right.
You'd probably rather be Hendrick
Yeah.
with the drivers you got. But
Yep.
either way, they've got Kevin Harvick and they're competing for championships. They'll be fine.
Yep. Let's go back to Indianapolis for a minute. I should have moved this up in the notes, but quick do we care topic. So there's a lot of talk this week about how Indianapolis Motor Speedway and NASCAR was essentially begging drivers. It was actually announced in the drivers' meeting not to do burnouts on the yard of bricks on the front stretch at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Kyle Busch won the Xfinity race, did not do a burnout, did not even do, all he did was turn around. Actually, no, he didn't even do that. He just drove down pit road and went to victory lane and was the grumpiest winner since Paul Menard at Michigan several years ago when I turned on Paul Menard. So do we care about this?
I kind of care, but here's the thing. There's some hollow ground there.
Yeah.
If Indianapolis asks you, please don't burn out on the bricks, can you just not burn out on the bricks?
My feeling is there is one place in the world where IndyCar takes the priority over NASCAR.
Yeah.
And it is Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And if Indianapolis Motor Speedway says don't do it,
Just don't do it.
You don't do it. They let you kiss the damn things.
Do your burnout everywhere else.
It's a 2.5 mile track. That's 1 yard.
You've got 2.999 miles to do burnouts.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, guys. And it's, I think about Indianapolis like this. It's like Augusta National and the Masters. You just treat places differently.
Yeah.
It's a golf course, but it's the golf course.
Right.
This is a racetrack, but it's the racetrack.
And it's a golf course.
And it's a golf
and
course.
It's a dirt track.
And it's a dirt track.
And it's a road course.
It's hollow ground, man. It's hollow ground.
Yeah.
Hallowed ground.
Yeah.
Not hollow ground.
No, I agree. So I care, but I care in of the mindset of just knock it off.
Yeah.
Just do what they ask.
Just be a gentleman about it. And Kyle Busch, come on, man, just relax. You're gonna do burnout. He's gonna be doing 100 more burnouts in his career. Just relax.
So freaking grumpy.
He's always grumpy.
All right, let's do a quick rundown of our 2019 season
This
predictions.
was fun. Yeah, this is fun.
So James compiled all these. James, you go through these since you did all the work on it.
Yeah. So at the beginning of the season, we did some predictions, and I thought it was funny too. Just read. We don't have to spend a lot of time on this, but I'm just gonna read them off.
I really liked the first one because I was adamant that this was not going to happen. Your prediction.
Oh, my prediction. Yeah. So so here we go.
And my prediction was just to kind of mostly get your goat.
You did, which ties into this episode fittingly. So
Funny that both of these two are in this. I'm glad we saved this for.
I know, this is great. No, so one big gamble we had. So my gamble, DiBenedetto wins a race.
So close.
We're not done yet. He's not done.
That's true, and you were close already.
Yeah, and Eric said Paul Menard makes the Final Four. So there you go.
Yeah.
I'm not going to dwell on that.
Right.
Teams to watch. This is good. Eric said Richard Childress Racing.
God, you had your crap together at the beginning of the season.
Wow, we were talking a lot about DiBenedetto at the beginning of the year,
That's
I
true.
remember.
That's true.
And then I had Levine Family Racing as my team to watch. And really, the partnership with Gibbs is only going to get better. So they're going to be a team to watch next year.
Yeah.
So, but RCR, I'm trying to think if what RCR's done this year. Nothing. Hemrick's been better than we thought?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Okay, very
I
good.
don't think he's been better than I thought he was going to be.
Pick two drivers that make the playoffs who make the playoffs this year. Sorry, let me start over. Jeez, oh Pete. Pick two drivers that made the playoffs last year who will not make it in 2019, and then pick two new playoff drivers.
Okay.
So my picks out: Austin Dillon and Alex Bowman.
You got
okay,
one of
I was
those
half right. In Matt DiBenedetto and William Byron. I got half of those right. I think I picked Matt DiBenedetto because I was certain that he might win a race at some point.
You were. I remember that discussion.
Damn close to getting both of those too. But Alex Bowman, I underestimate that dude every year. I've been doing it since he's been in the 88 car, and he continues to outperform my expectations.
I did the same thing, though, but I underestimated the guy who I said who I'm so high on now.
Yeah. Well, you were close. So you had out Alex Bowman and Kurt Busch. Both won a race. I mean, what are you gonna do? We didn't know what Ganassi was gonna be. Right. I thought at the time that was a pretty good argument. But you had William Byron in and Daniel Suarez. You were pretty dang close on Suarez.
Yeah. Almost.
Probably should have been in.
Yeah. Probably.
But Ryan Newman came out of nowhere.
Yep.
Will the new rules package work? This is a great one. Eric put the question mark on yes, and I just put yes with a period. I think you're probably more right. I think we're still evaluating.
I don't think
we talk about it every
it
week.
I'm over it. I think that if you look at the data, and you don't listen to the people who hate it, like you don't listen to the drivers who just. So the argument that a lot of the drivers have is it's hard to pass. Well, good. It's supposed to be hard to pass, but we're still seeing battles. Yeah. We're seeing good racing. That's what we wanted to see. We weren't looking for pack racing. We were looking for good racing, and I think the racing's better.
Yeah, I think it
And
needs
more
to,
so, it's been better than it's been worse.
Yeah, I think we have something to build on.
Yeah.
But I also think that the teams, the big teams, they're figuring it out more so.
They
than
definitely
everybody
are.
else.
Well,
But
and they're also pushing the limit because we've seen more wrecks the second half of the season. I would be really interested to see the same package that we have at the big tracks on the small tracks.
Yeah.
I'd like to see the lower horsepower motor on a short track and see what that does.
yeah, it'd be interesting. Yeah, I mean we're experimenting at this point anyway. We might as well go full bore with it.
I think that's the weak spot of this package, honestly, is the 750 portion of it. I think the 550 works.
Yeah.
I think the 750 doesn't.
Yeah.
There are some tracks that it doesn't work great on. Pocono sucks, period.
Yep.
Just does. So funny that Pocono, it works so poorly on, but Indy it works good on.
Yep.
But I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's working as well. I'm still indifferent on it, but it's working.
God, we were both wrong on this one.
Yeah, I don't even remember who won Atlanta. So
Kevin Harvick did, didn't he? Didn't he dominate?
I can't.
No,
remember.
he didn't.
No, he didn't. What will be the best race? So I said Atlanta. Eric said Auto Club. And hold on, we're gonna look at the results here really quick.
So what has been the best race so far?
Oh, I'm looking at the schedule. Hold on, let me think back. Boy,
Chicago?
no, it was well, Chicago was pretty good.
Chicago was really good.
Chicago was pretty good.
Why the hell did I pick Chicago? Because I thought this package wasn't going to work at Chicago.
Yeah. What race was I geeking out about earlier this season that I thought was one of the best races I've ever seen?
I don't remember, but we've seen some. Basically, look at the second half of the season. James,
Kentucky was pretty good.
Kentucky was good. Kentucky wasn't well. Kentucky was a good race. Kentucky was decent.
Yeah.
The ending was really good.
Yeah.
I think Chicago was an all-around good race. We've seen some good races. Talladega was good, if I remember correctly.
Yep, Talladega was good. If I remember correctly, too. Let me see. Wasn't that Dover race that Martin Truex Jr. won really good, too? There was 38 lead changes in that race.
I think I've liked the Dover race.
Oh, no, that was the Talladega Chase Elliott race. I'm sorry. Man. But, yeah, either way.
We were wrong.
This racing's been good for the most part for most of the season. So
worst race, New Hampshire.
You probably weren't wrong at that one.
Yeah, New Hampshire was pretty rough.
I was wrong. All-Star race at Charlotte wasn't terrible.
No, I thought it was good.
Yeah, Larson got that win there. Doesn't count towards the points, but either way, he got that win.
So we can't figure out whether we're right on our Final Four yet or not, but I know I'm wrong. And
yeah, we're going to have to track this one again. My Final Four, so I said Kyle Busch, Brad Keselowski, Kevin Harvick, and Chase Elliott. To be determined.
Yeah.
I don't like that I have Chase Elliott on that list right now. I would feel better with somebody else.
I am already wrong because I have Kyle Busch, Chase Elliott, who's I don't think going to be there either, Joey Logano potentially, and Jimmie Johnson.
That's really good. That's really good. Well, then this goes to your champion, Eric has Johnson. I said Kyle Busch.
Yeah, we're both going to be wrong there too.
We're both picking Denny Hamlin now. So there you go.
There you go.
But those are our preseason predictions. Well, I'll check back in and see how this Final Four and championship ends up. But I just thought it was fun to look at, since we're almost done with the season now. We've got 10 races to go. So there you go.
All right. We go this weekend to the South Point 400 at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. It's night race, isn't it?
Kind of. They're starting at late, 4 o'clock. But it's not. I think they're going to be racing mostly under the daytime. But
yeah, because if it's 4 o'clock in Vegas, it'll just be getting dark as the race ends.
So it'll be night race for us, but it'll be fine. It starts after the Lions game, so
it'll be kind of like Chicagoland was this year. It'll be twilight at the end of the race.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so do I get the first pick?
You do.
I get the first pick.
You get the first pick this week.
Let's see. I am just going to. I don't freaking know. So Joey Logano's got the best average finish here.
He does.
I'm just going to say I'm going with Martin Truex Jr. I feel like they need to get some rhythm going, and I don't know.
Yeah, he's been awful quiet lately.
Nobody's really standing out right now as just going to win.
Right.
Who do you got, James?
If I'm going to stick to my surprise in the playoffs, I'll say Kyle Larson.
Okay.
He's got a good average finish here, a good starting spot here. He's a 9.6 average starter. 7 total races, 4 top 10s, 3 top 5s.
I see you already have your dark horse put on the show notes.
We're leaving him in there.
Matt DiBenedetto is James's dark horse. God, I really feel like Jimmie Johnson would be an appropriate dark horse, but
he doesn't.
He's got 4 wins there.
There's one guy who's actually pretty high up on the average finish list that is right there for you.
I'm going Paul Menard.
There you go. That's what I was going to say. Just for me.
It'd be, not really, and not to get you all up, but he has made his retirement announcement. What better way to go out and then win the race? All the pressure's off.
Yeah.
Be kind of cool.
Why not?
Yeah.
Of all the tracks, he doesn't have a whole lot of top 10s in his career. He's got 5 here.
Yeah.
So that's pretty good.
I probably won the fantasy league because I didn't look at it, but I don't think I did.
Yeah, I didn't have. I know that everything went to hell for me. I was trying to sub guys, and it wasn't pretty. But let me just pull that up really quick.
This is where we stall because neither of us are prepared because we hate fantasy.
We're not filibustering by any means. So.
No, not at all.
Okay. So.
I complained so much about the website last year, but NASCAR's website is just as bad.
So, okay, I thought I had a terrible week.
Did you win?
I won.
Would I finish last?
No, next to last.
Okay.
I scored 165 points. Ranger Runyon second. Scoters, Hurricane Ditka, Justin. We were all terrible, by the way. And then the KB Show, 87. And then Freight Train, 82.
Dang.
So
Todd must have forgotten to pick his drivers.
There's going to be a little bit of a swing in the overall standings. Just a second here. Ranger Runyon, he continues to pull away. He is in the lead. Justin 713 is second. Freight Train, Hurricane Ditka. And then I am right on Hurricane Ditka's tails, man. I am coming for him. So
now we got playoffs. So how does the playoffs work?
I haven't looked at how to pick drivers yet, but just a moment. Let's take a look.
For the playoffs, Fantasy Live rosters would consist of 2 playoff and 2 non-playoff drivers.
Yep.
With no usage restrictions. Lock in your playoff champion pick to earn an additional 60 points.
Oh, so we got a chance to make some ground up here, Eric.
So you pick your playoff champion now?
You pick your starters.
No, but it says
lock in your
champion.
Yep, so you can lock in a champion for the end of the year. Yeah.
Interesting.
Oh, yeah. There it is. Playoff champion. Make your pick.
Interesting.
Wow. I wonder if you can change that at some point.
I don't know. That is interesting. So maybe I've got a shot.
Maybe after the first race it locks. But yeah, so you get 2 playoff drivers in each race, and you get 2 non-playoff drivers, and you can use a playoff driver in your garage. So
There you go.
Here you go, boys and girls.
Well, that's interesting, though, because if you have to choose whether you're doing the playoff driver or non-playoff driver in your garage.
That's right. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and it opens the field up towards the end. So
yeah. So
we got a chance to make up some ground here, Eric. It's not over by any means.
It's over. James, got any shout-outs this week?
Just a quick one. You had talked about Ben last week,
yeah.
And I had a nice little email back and forth with Ben, working on getting him on the show.
Awesome.
Nice guy. Had some really nice things to say about us, so I'm looking forward to speaking to him in person soon.
Cool. I don't think I have any this week. Go listen to Dale Jr.'s podcast. Jimmie Johnson, the champ, the GOAT, is on there.
The GOAT.
Worth checking out. Otherwise, thanks to Ben again. I pretty much thank him every week.
Yep.
I think we'll just do that. We'll just make that a regular part of the show. Thanks, Ben. Thanks to all of our patrons, all 3 of you.
Hey, 3. That's good.
Ranger, Todd, we appreciate it. With that, James, where can they find you on social media if they want to talk to you during the week?
At James Cush on Twitter.
You can find me at TSuperspeedway on Twitter. You can find the podcast on Facebook at facebook.com/TheSuperspeedway. Our website is thesuperspeedway.com. You can find the podcast on there, show notes. The playoff grid is on there in today's show notes, so definitely print that off, do whatever. Send us an email, let us know your grid. You can find the podcast on there, show notes, coverage of races, et cetera, et cetera. Find all that on there, thesuperspeedway.com. You can find the podcast on iTunes, Google Play, and SoundCloud, wherever you heard us today. We hope you subscribe and continue to listen. If you want to become a patron and bring our count to, we only need 3 patrons to double our patrons.
Nice.
So it's all it'll take, guys. So do that. That would be awesome. We'd appreciate it. Patreon.com/thesuperspeedway. James is still lightning outside. I think the rain has stopped.
Yeah, I think we're in the clear.
There's no tornado sirens anymore.
Nope.
I think I can safely drive back to my camper that I'm living in.
We are. I told Ben this in the email I sent him, but man, we really are. I don't think we can describe the setup we've got going on.
I feel like I should probably take a picture of this before we take it down tonight, because it's just a massive cable on James's table.
Yeah, and we've got our Freeland Living magazine here, which is nice.
Perfect.
So
yeah. It's a mess. I just come over and take over James's kitchen or dining room area.
It did quiet down once Ellie went to bed. I hope everybody noticed that.
Yeah. Hope you enjoyed her input throughout the show. With that, we're going to head on out of here. We'll be back next week to talk about Las Vegas and continue on with our playoff coverage. Until then, everybody, let's go racing.